Trevor, it's really nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina. I can see I see you're seated right now,
Yeah.
obviously. If you stood up, would we all go, wow, how tall is that guy?
Yes,
You get that all the time.
and ask if I play basketball.
How tall are you?
6'8".
6'8". And do people ask you on the daily how tall you are? And if you play basketball?
Almost every time, and it's interesting because when I was younger, I would get, did you play basketball? But as I gained weight, it slowly started transitioning. Do you play football? And then more specifically, are you an offensive lineman? Now, thankfully, it's starting to return back to, do you play basketball?
Okay, you got that svelte, lean basketball look again.
Yeah.
At 6'8". Oh man. Okay. So you actually are an athlete, though, a former Division I athlete, not in basketball, not in football, but in
Water polo.
water polo. How in the world does one even get introduced to water polo?
I was a swimmer all my life since I was a kid. And when I went into high school, I joke with people, I got tired of chasing that black line that's at the bottom of the pool and wanted a little bit more interactivity and a little bit more team aspect to the sport. And water polo was a natural transition into that.
Is height helpful in water polo? Does that make any difference?
It does make a difference from a reach perspective, but you're
Sure.
not allowed to touch the bottom. So it doesn't help in terms of depth of the pool.
So just what you're doing with that ball, holding it
Right.
out and trying to fake out opponents and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, incredible. Wow. I think you're the first water polo player that I've actually met. It's not a very popular, widespread sport. I'm sure you are very aware of that.
Yeah, especially outside of the West Coast. There are some spots here and there, but mostly it's a West Coast sport.
And here you are in Charlotte, North Carolina, on the
Right.
East Coast as
That's
a
right.
water polo player.
That's right.
If you started a group to meet every Friday for happy hour of water polo players, would you be the only one there in Charlotte?
I have been made aware of a few water polo players since I've been out here. I think there is actually a club team that years back I went to a practice. So they're here. It's just a matter of finding them and then getting together with them.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Okay, well, let's talk about your profile experience, which has been a very positive one. And we've already established the fact that you're 6'8", and you had told us that at your heaviest, you were 350 pounds.
That's correct.
And you
Yeah.
have a little girl who is starting to become mobile. When you are overweight and trying to catch up with a toddler who's learning to crawl and walk and just tear the house apart, how difficult was that for you at 350?
Difficult, very difficult for a number of reasons. One, the sweating, just the uncomfortability. Even if I'm trying to track her down, loss of, losing my breath, sweating. And then if I go to pick her up, I'm just transitioning all that to her. And then just overall, besides like the physical symptoms, just the lack of energy. And then beyond that, it's the lack of confidence. So, my daughter wants to get out. She wants to go do things. She wants to be active, especially, when she sees other, small kids or out on a park. And being as big as I am, it was only natural for me to be self-conscious out in those settings, as a parent, feeling like, and nobody said anything, but, consciously feeling like I'm being judged because I'm that giant guy roaming around trying to keep up and just, not looking healthy and not feeling healthy enough to keep up with her. So that was, one of the main motivations for just finally making a change.
So the actual moment that you picked up the phone and called profile, was there a last straw moment that got you to that point, or just a accumulation of all of it?
It was a little bit of both. There was definitely the accumulation. I've tried multiple things and some have been successful, mostly short-term success. And I was looking for that long-term. And I think what stood out to me and what finally made me pick up the phone was that the thought of having someone to be there with me, like a coach that I could
Mhm.
take along this journey, share with my struggles, share with my success, and keep me accountable, and really take all the guesswork out of it. That is what made me pick up the phone because I knew that me with an athletic background, relying on coaches before that I could respond to something like that. But more importantly, I was the type of person that needed something like that, someone to help me along the way and, tell me right from wrong, especially when it comes to nutrition and wellness.
Yeah, and that's the piece that I thought was so interesting about your story is that having been a Division I athlete, you knew how to exercise, you knew how to burn calories or do cardio or things like that. And you had said what the piece you were missing that you just didn't have the education on was the nutrition.
That's
What
correct.
struck you as you started Profile? What struck you about the knowledge that you were getting about nutrition?
How it made me feel instantly. So even at my heaviest on day 1, day 2 of starting Profile, just by eating clean, I felt the difference of energy levels, mood, balance, sleep, all those things. It didn't take long for me to realize just how, regardless of exercise, just how powerful you can feel by eating clean and knowing what eating clean means. And it's really not as difficult as it may seem or as intimidating as it may seem sitting on the outside. So my first realization was, wow, I wish I knew this sooner, because with my athletic success prior, I could have been even that much more successful. But in general, energy levels for work, energy levels for personal life, my marriage, and now my child, it was almost like the key to the success that I didn't know was out there that was so attainable so early.
That's I can't get over the statement that you just made about how powerful you can feel from
Yeah,
eating clean. And you said it just a couple of days. So it was like instant for
that's
you.
right. That's right. It was. And, that was what I needed to convince me I was on the right path. And I'm so thankful that you feel that way so soon. And it depends, right, from person to person, what you're coming off of. But, it doesn't take long for you to realize that you're on successful without making crazy sacrifices, without doing, some of the things that maybe some of these fad diets or things you read on the internet would suggest you do. It's simple, it's easy to jump into, and you feel the benefits that you use that to carry you forward to the next day, and you just take one day at a time, and those successes start compounding on each other.
So when you start the noticeable weight loss, so you're a week in, 2 weeks in, or whatever, is it just dripping off of you, like pound wise, number wise?
Yeah, I believe it was a 17 pound. So starting at 350, I had a lot to lose. So, and with how big I am, I believe within the first 10 days or 10 to 14 days, I had a 17-pound weight loss,
Jeez.
which was really eye-opening, and motivating. It just opened my eyes just enough to be like, okay, this is possible. So I was at such a high level that I knew that I was still just getting started, and everybody's first week is going to be the difference. But just eating clean, drinking water, and making small changes, you can see how your body reacts to that. Whether it's a big loss or a small loss, there's a loss. And I think that's something so crucial about Profile is I compare it to medications, where say maybe sometimes medications may take a while to hit your system. Profile hits your system right away, and the benefits hit your system right away. And there's scale victories and there's non-scale victories. You feel both that first week.
Yeah, and both are important. And you had said that you lost 40 pounds from the diet portion alone. Did you start with just the clean eating, like most of us when you do reduce, and then you add in an exercise piece after a certain time frame or weight loss, whatever it was?
Yeah, I wanted to get the diet under control before I started reintroducing exercise. And I also, to be quite honest, wasn't motivated to exercise. I was at a heavy level. And with my athletic background, it was hard to take that first step. With the success I saw just from the diet alone, it made it really easy and fun for me just to keep exploring what the diet alone could do for me. And then it just became one day where I decided, you know what, I'm going to add in exercise. And the best part was, for me, this was the first time, in 10 plus years where the exercise I was doing for fun and not to lose weight. The diet was taking care of the weight, and it made the exercise not a have to do, but a want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that empowering feeling carried it forward.
And how different did the exercise feel when you were 40 pounds lighter at that point?
It was amazing. And again, that much more motivated. It started to open my eyes while I was like, okay, I can do this. And things that I didn't think I would be able to do before, maybe join that water polo club that I've been too intimidated and too self-conscious to join back here. Think about those things are now in my future that I thought were lost forever.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You had also written about depression, anxiety, a lot of those things that are all connected, and it sometimes is just connected to your own feelings about your body. Sometimes it's connected to what you're putting in your body. What differences did you notice when you started the profile program that made a difference in whatever depression, anxiety, things like that you were feeling?
One of the really first impactful things that my coach helped me understand, and I needed her help to understand, was the connection between the food I ate and the emotional strength I felt. And that just small changes in my nutrition could have, based on me, big impacts to my emotional health. And then making those connections from those certain foods that could trigger the depression and the anxiety to flare up, or for me to go through moments where I would have a bigger impact. The connection to that was game changing, because then I was able to, it helped me make conscious decisions on the foods that I was eating, saying, okay, I know that as a father and as a husband, I can't be out of mission. So to the best of my ability, I need to see and foresee what my nutritional choices could do that would impact those things. And making that connection was absolutely crucial. And still to this day, it's on the top of my mind every day, is making that connection has helped make those choices just a little bit easier, knowing that it's not just about, okay, I'm going to see a bigger number on the scale. It's okay, I'm actually going to feel, have my emotional health be at risk if I eat those foods that for me trigger those types of feelings.
Yeah. Are you getting feedback from not only your wife, but like coworkers, family members, people you would see periodically that are not only stunned by the way you look, but have you heard any comments about like, Trevor, you're in such a good mood, or like your personality seems to be more enjoyable these days?
Yeah, I have. So I've gotten both. So, and it's ranging from family members to, people I encounter maybe around my community, where they just kind of say, hey, have you lost a lot of weight? You look great. Or just people just feeling the energy that I can bring. A lot of it is, in my professional career, I'm in meetings most of the day, and that can be very, very draining. But having the energy level to be there for my teammates and my team is really important as well. But just, the most important one for me is my family. So having my wife give me that positive, saying, hey, I'm seeing the benefits of you being able to be mentally around more, is affirming. I'm not perfect, and it hasn't been perfect through this journey, but her positive affirmations of seeing that is, again, something that encourages me, to keep working at it day by day.
And so as we talk today, is it a 70-pound weight loss?
77.
77.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you had said your wife's doing it as well.
Yes.
So that is very helpful when you have that encouragement and you're sort of both eating the same types of things. I found the grocery shopping was much easier and meal prep is much easier.
That's right. And getting in the same mindset. I'll be flat out honest. She's a lot more mentally tough than I am. She has a much more positive relationship with food than I do. So having her be my rock in times of vulnerability, and it happens. It happens on a daily basis, and having her with me as not only a support for me, but also as a role model for me, so that I can see how she does it, has really been one of the keys to success, in terms of my journey.
That's fantastic. How fun is it to run around with your daughter now,
It's
77 pounds later.
it's the best, and I'm glowing thinking about it because so kind of going back to the original point I made, where not only was it hard and difficult for me to run around with her, but I was also avoiding situations subconsciously where I'd
Okay.
have to be exposed. Now I'm looking for opportunities to take her places because I'm not thinking about myself anymore, and I'm able to put all my energy into her, taking her out trick or treating, or taking her to parks, taking her out for walks. I'm able to open the world up for her because I've made it less about me and more about her, which is what it should be in the beginning.
Fantastic. 77 pounds down, running around with baby girl and about to join the water polo club team. I love it. Trevor, it's really awesome. Congratulations. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Thank you. I am. I think one of the things that, is important to me to pass on is, it's not 77 pounds is not a straight downward slope. It's a journey. And so, even as recent as last week, that journey, it looks more like a plateau versus a downhill, or even sometimes an uptick. But overall, looking back at the overall journey, it's definitely made me proud and made me very thankful to be a part of the profile community.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Absolutely.
That's Trevor Clark, 77 pounds lost, living a good life in Charlotte, North Carolina. We thank you all for watching and for listening to another episode in Profiles in Health and Wellness.